What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this week's Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today. We're going to sit down tonight because I'm tired. It's late. Flyers, by the way, this week. Let's go. Hockey is back. That is not a clean Glen Karen. We'll grab a clean one here. And today we have Early Times, Bottled in Bond. This is a 100 proof, obviously, 4 years old. Comes in at 79% corn, 11% rye, which leaves us with the 10% malted barley. Not a bad mash bill if you ask me. It's right in that wheelhouse of mash bills that I like. 100 proof is right in that proof range that I really enjoy. This coming out of Brown-Foreman, and we're going to talk a little bit more later about the actual name behind this, who started it, and all of that stuff in our Bourbon Bomb of the Week. But before we get to any of that, make sure you click that like, make sure you click that subscribe button. We hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to do a giveaway. We're going to do a live for our 1,000 subscriber mark, but I have a daughter on the way any day now. So I don't want to say, this is the date and then, go into birth, have pregnancies, all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to wait until my daughter gets here. Then we'll do the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We'll do it live. But everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Damn. So this is Early Times Bottled in Bond. You cannot get that here in Pennsylvania. We did look at this, we still have the sticker on the bottle. We did a blind of this against Evan Williams White Label, as well as our Heaven Hill 6-year here. I have a couple of buddies out of state that sent me this. This one happened to come from David Olson 25 on TikTok. Met up with him. He got me this. So without these people in the bourbon community, I would never be able to get my hands on half of these bottles. So thank you, and thank everybody who helps this kind of stuff happen. You guys are amazing for that. If you don't know, if you're new to the channel, we use price, taste, drinkability to basically rank these bourbons on a ranking sheet. I'll put it up here. I actually lost it. Did a little bit of work on my computer, lost all my files, but it's all right. We're getting them back slowly but surely, but I'll have to remake the ranking sheet, which I'll do tonight. This one, it's going to be tough. So everything we basically covered to this point is a 750 milliliter bottle. This does not come in a 750 milliliter bottle. It only comes in the 1 liter like you see here. So we're going to do some math to make sure that we at least make this fair price-wise when we get into price. But price, taste, drinkability, we're going to start with drinkability, which is how much ethanol kick that this bottle has. And I can tell you, being a bottle bond, we know it's 100 proof. It is pretty damn smooth. Now, I haven't had anything to drink tonight. Sometimes I'll have like an 80 proof to start these, just to kind of get my taste buds going on what a traditional bourbon tastes like, as well as what an 80 proof bourbon is supposed to taste like. I didn't do that tonight, and that usually means this is going to give me a little bit more kick because it's the first one of the night, but it doesn't do that. Drinkability on this is really, really good, and coming out of Brown-Foreman, this is kind of their own line outside of Brown-Foreman. So we know Brown-Foreman does the Old Forester line. We know that Jack Daniels, actually, I believe, is under Brown-Foreman as well. There's a bunch of stuff under Brown-Foreman that you definitely know about. So we know that they know what they're doing when it comes to making this. What else is in there? Woodford Reserve is Brown-Foreman. We got a couple. We got the double oaked as well as the 16, batch 16, series 16. So Brown-Foreman knows what they're doing. They're one of the oldest. They're actually the oldest distillery, I believe. Oldest continually same family owned distillery. So they definitely know what they're doing when it comes to this kind of stuff. So drinkability on this, fantastic, 100 proof. I'm going to give it like an 8.6 when it comes to drinkability. I think it deserves to be up there. You'd be surprised how smooth this is when you actually drink it. 8.6. Next, we're going to get I don't even know if I'm in frame here. See, I use my phone. This is loud as hell, too. I use my phone to record, which is great and everything, but I need a camera where it can pop out so I can make sure I'm set up in frame well, but we'll take care of that in post. That's something editors say. Next, we're going to get into drinkability on this. Or no, sorry, we did drinkability. We're going to get into taste on this. Taste is exactly what it is. How good does this taste? What are the flavors that come with it? Is it overbearing on one type of flavor or underwhelming on another? And I will say that it's very good when it comes to the taste as far as giving you all the traditional bourbon flavors. It is a 4-year-old bourbon, so it's not young. You don't get too much youth off of this. The flavors that you do get, your typical vanilla, caramel, oak, more of a sweet caramel, almost like maybe a honey note or something like that in there. Something with a little more viscosity type of thing, like maybe a syrup, a honey, something like that. And there's not too, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of rye spice with this, but nothing too crazy. Nothing like, there's a few bottles that I've had up here, like our Bardstown Fusion 4 or our Barrel New Year's, where like some of the flavor profiles that you get, they're not bad. It's just crazy different compared to like a traditional bourbon flavor. This seems to do a very good job of keeping it as a traditional bourbon flavor and nothing more than that. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're looking for a traditional bourbon flavor, sometimes when I come home, that's exactly what I want. I just want to taste the vanilla, the caramel, the oak. I'll compare this to a lot of other bourbons to see if it has more to offer than just the traditional bourbon flavor. I promise that's the last time I'll say that. But that's what they have here. They've got a great bourbon. It's well blended. It's 4 years old. It's got a very good mash bill, right in my wheelhouse, like I said before, with that 79% corn. The more corn gives it a little bit more sweetness. So this does have a little bit more sweetness up front, which I do love. Russell's Reserves does something similar with that. They have 75% corn, I believe, is their mash bill, 74, 75 when it comes to wild turkey. But that's what you're going to get here. You're going to get a sweetness. You're going to get a little bit of a rye spice, maybe even a little bit of aged taste behind this, like a little bit of a tobacco note maybe, which usually lends itself to an older bourbon. It's subtle. It's very subtle. It's either oak or tobacco or something like that. But that's all you're really going to get here. Do I hate it? No, absolutely not. I enjoy it a lot, but do I think it's the most unique, the most outstanding bourbon that I've ever had? I don't think that either. But it's also, when we're going to get into price on this, not the most expensive thing that you're going to pick up. So when it comes to taste on this, I'm going to give it like a 7.2, 7.3. We'll call it 7.25 when it comes to taste on this. And last but certainly not least, before we send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we're going to get the price on this. Now, like I mentioned before, this is a 1 liter bottle, so we can't really compare it to the other 750 milliliter bottles that we do, but let's do some math here. 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. 750 milliliters, so that would be 0.75. This is a $25 bottle for the 1 liter, so 25 times 0.75, that's going to break down to, I'm really good at math, $18.75. $18.75 if they sold a fifth of this, a 750 milliliter bottle of this. That's damn impressive. I'll be quite honest with you. That's really impressive to me that they can do that with this bottle, because like I said, you still got a 4-year, you've still got the 100 proof in the bottled and bond, plus they're going through all the bottled and bond stuff. It's got to be aged in a government warehouse, all the oversight, all that kind of stuff going on as well. So everything about this bottle should tell you that it should be worth more than $18.75. Now, again, we compared it to the Evan Williams white label, which is up there somewhere, which I think is like, what, $15 or something like that, which is also an Evan Williams bottled and bond. So they definitely compare when it comes to that. Again, if you haven't already checked out that episode, make sure you do check that out. But I do believe that this does taste better when it comes to less harsh when it comes to the drinkability, so less of that ethanol kick, and then a little bit better of a taste profile. Now, is it the best taste profile? No, it's kind of, mute. It's kind of a beginner bourbon taste profile. I would actually recommend this. If this bottle was readily available across the shelves, just like Evan Williams is, I would recommend this as my beginner bourbon for every single person. It's just the price that you're going to get. The flavors are just going to give you that generic flavor. And everything about this screams like beginner bourbon, and it's really good. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to recommend Basil, and at $40 a pop, that's just tough to recommend for a beginner bourbon. Now, it has a similar profile, that traditional, I won't say it again, But at $40 compared to $18.75, it's a lot easier to be like, yo, go pick up some Early Times Bottled and Bond than it is to go pick up some Basil Hayden. But like I said, price, you got everything behind this. Brown-Foreman, 100 proof, 79% corn. You've got Bottled and Bond Act, everything going into this. So at $18.75, can you really be too mad about it? Now we'll shave a fraction of a point or two off because the taste is a little bit of a letdown. That's such a tough word. It's not a letdown. It's delicious. It's just not really what you want if you're like a huge bourbon guy. If you're past that original bourbon flavor and you want something more unique, this isn't what you're going to go to. Now, I would go to this, and I would invite my friends who aren't bourbon drinkers to go to this every day of the week. So we got to kind of balance it out here. For price, I'm going to give it like let's give it like an 8.0. We'll just put it right in the middle there. It doesn't deserve to be in the 7s because there's no way. But it also doesn't deserve to be too high because of the flavor profile and all of that. Plus, I don't like the fact that it's not readily available across the country. But at 1 liter, might as well pick one up if you see it. We're going to give it an 8.0 when it comes to price. So listen, while I add these scores up, let's send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and learn about Early Times and a little bit of the history behind it. I promise it'll be a short one this week. Let's do it. So for this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we're going to go over early times, the name behind it and how it got started. And I know I normally move my setup so you can see the bar a little bit better, but I didn't feel like doing that tonight because I'm being lazy. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I like to be transparent. But let's get into early times bottled and bond. This was actually started by the Beam family, believe it or not. You know the name Jim Beam. Jim Beam had a brother, David Beam. David Beam had a son, Jack. It's actually, his name is John Henry Beam, but they called him Jack. Jack left the Beam Distillery and decided, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm 21 years old. I don't want to live under the family name forever. So he went out, he started his own distillery near Bardstown, and he started Early Times, and he was distilling it, and it was fantastic. He crushed it with this bottle. Then he ended up dying. It was 1915 when he died, I believe. He was like 75 years old. And the product just kind of sat there. Nobody really picked it up. It was successful, but I guess nobody really wanted to get behind it. That is until obviously Brown of the Brown-Foreman distillery came and decided, I'm going to take these barrels off your hand. I'm going to sell it myself. He sold it, and it was actually the most popular bourbon, or whiskey, I suppose, at the time, because I don't know when they started regulating it, bourbon versus whiskey, but it was the most popular brand in 1953, which is amazing. So they did this, they did this, they did this. It fell off again. Then they brought it back as Early Times Bottled and Bond. You can't get it everywhere, but when you can get it and you do see it, I do recommend picking up a bottle of this because Brown-Foreman, like I already said, knows what they're doing. And we're going to keep this short and sweet. Let's get back to our score and see where this fell on the ranking sheet. So I did forget to mention that Early Times is actually celebrating over 160 years of being a continually distilled bourbon. So they're one of the oldest continuously distilled bourbons in the United States. So you pair that with Brown-Foreman, which is the oldest run distillery, and you've got a great product here in Early Times Bottled and Bond, which at 1875 came in at a 7.95. Fantastic spot for it. It doesn't quite break the 8s because I do believe it has a little bit, it's lacking a little bit with that youth, with all of that going on with it. And at $18.75, you don't expect this to be competing with the big boys, and they don't even expect this to be competing with the big boys. But I do wish they would put out a 750 milliliter just because then they could disperse this maybe a little bit better. Again, I can't get this here in Pennsylvania. I've actually never come across it. I've never run across it in my bourbon hunting journey. So I do wish maybe a 750 milliliter, you can get what? 3 bottles, 3 liters could turn into 6 bottles. I don't know the math. I told you I knew math earlier. I did it on my calculator. But Early Times Bottled and Bond, 7.95. Not a terrible spot for it. That's where we're going to leave you for today. Make sure you check me out on Instagram every Tuesday at 4 p.m. I drop an image of the bourbon that I'm going to review. You can go on and try and guess the score that I'm going to give it. If you guess the closest, I'll give you a shout out on the channel, as well as enter you in a monthly drawing to win some cool prizes, including custom Glencairns. Not this one, it's dirty, but you can win a custom Glencairn all by just guessing the score. Also, check me out on Patreon. Again, I mentioned I have a baby girl on the way, so hunting these bourbons is going to get a little more difficult to do with the financial side of things. We're also going to add that to the production side of things. Trust me, I don't love to make money off of you guys. I just use it to try to invest back into this program so you guys can get more content like this. Last but not least, check us out on Discord. We're pushing 100 members on Discord. Once I get to 100, I'm going to do a Discord-only giveaway. We're going to do some samples. We're going to do some Glens. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. So join me on Discord. Both of those links will be down below. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. Probably because this is so damn good. But both of those links will be down below. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Click that like, click that subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Please don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. And as always, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.